Oh, yeah. Is it Thursday already? Thursday, December 11th, 2025, may go down as one of the most important days in the history of Star Wars, of Lucasfilm, of Disney, as Disney just signed a $1 billion partnership deal with OpenAI, ChatGPT, Sora AI, all of that in that company called OpenAI. And a Maul comic series that will be a prequel to the Maul Shadow Lord series was just announced today. And later today, we have a huge announcement, maybe even a trailer, for the next Star Wars video game. Whether that will be a Knights of the Old Republic remake or Jedi 3 following Cal Kestis, either way, it's going to be enormous. December 11th, 2025 is going to be a day to remember. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's it been doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? I mean, I did not think I'd wake up today and have to talk about so much. We might be going for 2 hours today. However, it's great to have news to talk about. When you don't have news to talk about, you got to kind of find different ways to spend time talking about Star Wars, and it's nice when we have something specific to talk about. And Disney signing a $1 billion deal with OpenAI. It's insane. It's going to change the way that content is created from here on out. From this day forward, everything has changed. So forget everything you thought you knew about the future of content for Star Wars, for Marvel, for Pixar, for Disney Animation. Throw it out the window. Because, we're going to see. We're going to see where our heads are at, whether this is a positive or negative thing. I can guarantee you we're going to have very differing opinions in the chat. So let's try to keep it civil today. Keep it civil in that chat. But before we dive into any of it, let's start the stream the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? Clan Mandalorian, what's up? How we doing? Mr./X in the house. Mando United, what is up? Vegas Jedi, how we doing? Another Mike who loves Star Wars, what is up? That guy B in the house. Brandon Baker, what is up? Rachel, how we doing? Holly in the house. Darth Plagueis lives, what is up? Starship 66, how we doing? Matthew, what is up? That Dave that loves Star Wars, how we doing? Giver, how we doing? Sat Strat, what is up? Josh, how we doing? Saber Life, what is up? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I think we have to start this whole conversation with a poll. Before we get into what the news is, what this means for Star Wars, what this means for Disney, let's start this with a poll. Whether you think this is good news or not. So let's start here. So if you haven't smashed a freaking like already, let's get on that. Another Mike who loves Star Wars, the very generous $2 holla, says, I just wanted to reduce my wealth. May the force be with you. That might be the greatest super chat I've ever received. I just wanted to reduce my wealth. That's incredible. Okay. Do you think, well, let me phrase this differently. Disney's $1 billion deal with OpenAI is ... great news or horrible news? Horrible news. Let's see where we're at. So it's either great news. Oh, wait, what? Or horrible news. You tell me. And while you do, let's get to the news. Let's get to the news itself here. Let's talk about this, okay? So let me pull this up over here, put that over there, put that over there. All right. So this is where it all started with this announcement earlier this morning. Walt Disney Company and OpenAI have reached landmark agreement to bring beloved characters from across Disney's brands to Sora AI, which is OpenAI's video AI generation. Now, this is a 5 minute and 17-second article that we're not going to listen to because I have some other good articles that sort of dive into it anyway. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. Hang on, let me scroll back. Okay. Prepare for AI Marvel, Star Wars, and more as Disney signs a $1 billion deal with OpenAI. Disney has officially opened the floodgates on AI, as reports are now coming in that the Walt Disney Company has signed a deal with OpenAI. The deal, the details of which are listed below, will practically be a 3-year licensing agreement. 3 years. So there is a limitation to this. There is an end to the agreement, wherein AI will now allow its Sora AI video generator to use the likeness of characters from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars brands legally. With this AI, it's kind of just been the wild, wild west for the last couple of years. People have been using and creating AI illegally, at least the likeness of certain characters illegally, and those people have been sued and shut down. And actually, we'll get to it in a second, but Disney did just sue a huge AI company right before they signed this deal with OpenAI. So legally now, you can use these characters to create AI things. The videos will then be authorized for distribution for Disney-owned platforms like Disney Plus. So here's the deal itself fully explained. The deal will include much more than social media or promotional advantages for the two companies. It will also open the door to a full integration of OpenAI's products and services within Disney's massive corporate infrastructure. That includes Disney using OpenAI services and tools to, quote unquote, bring new products, tools, and experiences, including for Disney Plus, and deploying ChatGPT for its employees. It will also see Disney make a show of faith in pushing its new partner ahead in the market by making a $1 billion equity investment in OpenAI and receiving warrants to purchase additional equity. So it's pretty much just Disney deciding that OpenAI is the one they're working with. Because if you don't really understand the AI battlefield that's going on in the universe, there's a bunch of different companies making their own versions. OpenAI has ChatGPT, Google has Gemini, even Twitter has Grok. Like, there's a bunch of different big-time different versions of AI. They all kind of do the same thing. They're all competing with each other to be better, but ChatGPT is probably the most famous one, and Disney is partnering with that one. So, Disney CEO Bob Iger I'll get to that super chat in one sec, issued a statement on the deal stating, technological innovation has continually shaped the evolution of entertainment, bringing with it new ways to create and share great stories to the world. I mean, he's not wrong, as many people really hate the AI thing because it takes away people's jobs. The creative side of things is kind of being thrown out the window to an extent, which we'll get into in a second. But Disney, specifically, Lucasfilm, especially, Star Wars, in a big, big way, has always been pushing the boundaries of how to make and create content. For example, the original trilogy. George Lucas using all these different things to create Star Wars, with the prequel trilogy going to green screen and blue screen and all these different CGI effects. Yes, you get jobs because you have people who need to make those CGI, but you lose jobs because there's people who used to paint the backgrounds of the Star Wars scenes, and those people lose their jobs. But I digress. Bob Iger is clearly not oblivious to the potential backlash he'll face from this deal because, oh my God, has there been backlash. If you've been online today, on anywhere, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever you see your news, oh, it's been chaos. Absolute chaos. Some people saying it's a great thing. Some people saying it's the worst thing to ever happen in the history of the world. Okay, maybe not that much, but you know what I mean. People are going crazy when it comes to this crazy deal. As he went on to give a pitch to worried creatives about why it will benefit them too, so the creative minds. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence marks an important moment in our industry. And through this collaboration with OpenAI, We will thoughtfully and responsibly extend the reach of our storytelling through generative AI while respecting and protecting creators and their work. So, for one, it's it's one thing to say this, and it's another thing to show this. If we see the reports over the next couple years of Disney laying off so many creatives because they don't need them anymore because of AI, that's a big, big problem. But what he's saying here is that they're not bringing on this deal to get rid of employees, to get rid of creative minds. It's to enhance those creative minds and the vision that they are trying to create. AI to me is a tool. I understand that it won't be used as that in many different facets of the industry, and it will lose a ton of jobs, but that is the bad side of AI. People only look at the bad. I like to look at both. Yes, there is bad and there is good. AI has already been used for the last 10 plus years. It's just more so, maybe not 10 plus years, but you know what I mean. It's been used for years now, and it's only become mainstream to us, the audiences, in the last couple years. So it's something that's been used already to create these movies and shows and all this stuff that we've already watched. It's just used in different ways as tools. It's not taking away any jobs from CGI creators or visual effects creators. It's just helping them. So there's a good and a bad to AI. The bad is like Terminator, take over the world, take everybody's jobs, Age of Ultron type bad. I guess that's the extreme side of it. And then there's good, using it as a tool to help enhance the creative's vision. And again, Bob Iger saying this and executing this are two very different things. So, finally, Bob Iger wants to make it clear that this deal will create a whole lot of fun for Disney fans as well, as he says this. Bringing together Disney's iconic stories and characters with OpenAI's groundbreaking technology puts imagination and creativity directly into the hands of Disney's fans in ways we've never seen before, giving them richer and more personal ways to connect to the Disney characters and stories that they love. We've already seen this happening over the last couple of years with people making Star Wars videos that are AI of different stories that happen in the comic books or in the novels, and some of it's really, really cool. Is it illegally done? Maybe, but now this is the opportunity to do it legally. It's almost like Disney trying to step in and go, we're doing this now before it gets way too out of hand and we can't stop it. So we're going to partner with them so that we can control what content is being created instead of just letting chaos be chaos. So here's where the things get really, really crazy. AI offers up a list of characters that you'll be able to use with the AI videos. And this list includes Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Lilo and Stitch, Ariel, Belle, Beast from Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Baymax, Simba, Mufasa, as well as characters from the worlds of Encanto, Frozen, Inside Out, Moana, Monsters Inc., Toy Story, Up, Zootopia, and many more. Plus iconic animated or illustrated versions of Marvel and Lucasfilm characters like Black Panther, Captain America, Deadpool, Groot, Iron Man, Loki, Thor, Thanos, and Darth Vader, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Leia, The Mandalorian, Stormtroopers, and Yoda. With the indication that many other characters will be available as well, upward of 200 characters. Now, the key words here are iconic animated or illustrated versions of these characters. There's a big caveat to this big AI thing, which is very, very important. And that is the fact that they cannot use the likeness of actors and actresses. This is a big deal. The reason that this deal is not only important but necessary is because if Disney did not partner with OpenAI, the illegal creation of these characters and actresses using AI would continue. So this is a way to allow the fans to use animated versions or illustrated versions of the characters without taking an actor like, for example, Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker and creating an AI version of that character and Mark Hamill not getting any money from that. Because that's been the biggest deal when it comes to actors and the, I guess, writers and actors strikes that we had a few years back. Because if their face is being used, they deserve to be paid for it. So the biggest caveat when it comes to this is the majority of the characters you're getting access to are animated ones. For example, Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, Lilo and Stitch, Sully and Mike from Monsters Inc., and Toy Story characters like Woody and Buzz. But when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars characters, it is not the live action version of these characters. It is the animated or illustrated versions to protect the actors whose faces they look like. That's important. Because without regulations, without some sort of guidelines, AI is the wild, wild west, and it needs to be contained. It needs to be have some sort of guidelines and rules. Because right now there isn't any. Like there really isn't. You are seeing these crazy every time a new AI comes out, a new update for ChatGPT or a new update for a Gemini 3 comes or Gemini comes out, it's always these crazy videos are being made of like just sometimes horrible things, but either way, it's just weird videos where they're using the likeness of a real person to create these insane videos. So that has to be stopped. That has to be, regulated a little bit. And that's what this deal is actually doing. So there's good to it and there's bad to it. Do I think many people over the next couple of years at Disney will lose their jobs? Yes. And I think that's just horrible because honestly, when you look at Star Wars, it takes an army. Like it doesn't just take Jon Favreau to make The Mandalorian and Grogu. Yeah, he's the director, but that's just one guy in this huge army of thousands of people that create the movie. If you're losing those people, you're losing the creative minds behind those people. You're losing the ability to maybe think of an idea that can't be thought of by a frickin' computer that's thinking in ones and zeros. So there's good and there's bad to it because AI is such a great tool when used correctly. However, it gets bad really quickly. So I see it as both ways. I see it as the good and I see it as the bad. And honestly, I don't really know. It's going to be interesting to see how the next 3 years go because it is just a 3-year deal. It's not a good look for Disney. We'll put it that way. In a time where Disney needs a big win, this is not it. This is quite the contrary. This is actually a lot of people turning even more against the company. Yeah. It's about quality, not quantity. True. True. But again, AI is in everything now. I feel like when people talk about AI and the bad things about it, they're talking about specific things. For example, taking away jobs and of course, eventually what taking over the world, Terminator level, extinction level event type thing. There are AI tools embedded in everything, in the software that you use on your phone, in editing software like Adobe Premiere Pro, or literally anything. Stuff that they use on the daily to make movies and shows that we love. There's AI tools implemented in all of that. And that's a good thing. That's helping make these shows better. That's helping make the quality of the CGI and the quality of the visuals of all this and the audio, everything better. To give you another example. For example, any Beatles fans out there? The Beatles dropped a single 2 years ago. If you don't know, John Lennon and George Harrison are dead. So the fact that they were able to take a John Lennon song and use AI to take out his voice from the chords and music, and then use that to create a Beatles song with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr making the song, the two surviving members. That is cool. That is what it should be used for. AI is something that exists. It's not going anywhere. So for Disney to strike this deal and try to use it for regulating what can and can't be created with it and with their characters is smart. However, there is the bad side of it too. So, thoughts? I know it's a very interesting conversation to have because AI is not just one specific thing. It's all across the board of literally creating what could destroy the human race to being just a little tiny tool that can help create a certain scene. Like it's all across the board and all across the spectrum. But when it comes to this deal, I think it's most likely good news. Depending on how it ends up in 3 years, I don't know. But right now, I see it as good news. To not only regulate what can and can't be done with the characters made by Disney, but also just to allow their creatives to use these tools from here on out. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 3 months from now, when they've laid off half their workforce and AI is completely taken over and Disney product sucks now, I'll be saying a completely different thing. But as of right now, as of today, I see it as the good outweighs the bad. For now. Because AI is not going anywhere. Let's make that very clear. It's going to continue to evolve, and there needs to be some sort of barrier there. There needs to be something that can regulate what's happening. So that's where I'm at right now. Things may change, and they may change quickly and drastically. But for now, I think it's a good idea. However, from a Star Wars perspective, it'll be very interesting to see what fans can come up with, of course. You can't use their faces, so it'd have to be animated, or, we shall see. But either way, from a Star Wars perspective, there's already things, for example, like deep-faked Luke Skywalker, deep-faked Tarkin in Rogue One, deep-faked Leia in Rogue One. All these different versions of these characters that, yes, indeed, use AI to create them. And that movie is 9 years old. It's been around for a while. Again, using it as a tool to create something really cool. That is what excites me about it, is the possibility of getting more Luke, Leia, Han, and a possible Mandoverse trilogy, which we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks, and not recasting them. Instead just a deepfake. So, all that to say, when you look at the poll in the chat right now, it is geared more towards the horrible news side. Right now it's 62-38, I guess. Yeah, 62-38. 62% of you saying horrible news, 32% saying great news. I think it's somewhere in the middle there. It's not great news. Say it's maybe good news, leaning more towards the good. But I wouldn't say it's horrible news either. It is the first step in actually figuring out how this AI thing is going to work in the future, because it's not going anywhere. Yeah, it's not. AI Mickey Mouse? Oh my God, no. We'll see. They still need humans to program the AI. True. Blows my mind that everyone here is okay with AI. I wouldn't say I'm okay with it. I'm still, concerned about it taking over the world and, killing humans. That's always a concern. Just like aliens invading, or just like any nuclear explosion, like, just end of world, horrible, like zombie apocalypse, fungus from The Last of Us, just pretty much like any world ending event. It's concerning. The fact that the zombie apocalypse isn't hopefully anywhere near us. Jeez, I just jinxed us. I apologize, chat. That was my bad. If the zombie apocalypse happens soon, that's fully on me. I take the blame. And an alien invasion doesn't seem imminent. Again, that one's totally on me if that happens soon. But AI is the closest thing. It's the closest sci-fi horror story that is closest to us. So yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared for my life, you know. But I also use on the daily AI as a tool. When I'm editing my videos, I'm using AI to get rid of all the blank spots where I just sit here like, or when I go like this and I'm like that and I'm like this, that, it's that. And I'm using it like this because it's a tiny little tool that just cuts that out and saves me 10 seconds, whatever it is. So there's good and bad to it, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, impending doom is always a little scary, you know? Aliens are friends? What? Mike, how's the what if doing? The what ifs I do use, it's actually surprisingly not as much AI as you'd think. But it is going good. Yeah. Yeah. The good writers will be lost in the mix of quadrillion AI generated videos, music, etc. True to an extent, but that's still happening right now. You know? Like, there's still AI videos being generated right this very second. Disney only just made it legal to use their characters to create AI versions of the video. Still, the content that Disney creates is going to be what Disney creates. And fans just have the access now to legally create those videos. Yes. Video editing is different from OpenAI. Oh, 100%. Yes. I'm not using OpenAI to edit any of my videos. That's for sure. Yeah. Supergirl trailer, yes, that did come out today. I mean, it looks good, but I don't really know the character too much, so it just felt like Guardians of the Galaxy, honestly. Oh, let me get to those super chats really quickly here. Let's see. Darth Plagueis lives, the very generous $5 holla says the AI conversation. Good luck, Mike. You're going to need it. Well, thank you. I mean, I think I'm doing a good job so far. I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat. But yeah, it's a very difficult conversation to have because some people just view it as the greatest thing to ever exist because it helps them do something. It helps them tell a knock-knock joke. And some people think it's the end of the world. I think it's somewhere in the middle, hoping for the best. I'm a very optimistic guy. I hope for the best in people, but sometimes people will let you down. So, Bob Iger, the ball is in your court. Salty Tom with a very generous $5 holla says, good news. Feels like we're getting closer to my dream of watching Return of the Jedi and being able to intervene and branch with narratives in real time. I certainly hope that's not where this goes. Maybe that's your dream, but it's definitely not mine. What I don't want to happen is this affect the content that Lucasfilm is making, at least the quality of the content that Lucasfilm is making at all. When you look at the last 6 years since we last got our last Star Wars movie, when you see the Disney Plus live action shows, the quality of it is very, very good. And I don't want that to be diminished by this deal with OpenAI. I don't really see it affecting Star Wars specifically all that much, except for the fan portion of it. Fans being able to create videos with their favorite characters in them. Probably animated versions of the characters, but still using them either way. Yes. We will talk about the Game Awards in a little bit. Yes, we will talk about that in a little. I don't trust the people who are in control of AI. Well, that's kind of hard to do because again, the fact that there's such little regulations on it does lead to anything is possible. But that's like saying I don't trust the people who have access to things that could kill us on a daily basis. You know, I don't know who's in charge of anything, honestly. How about nobody's in charge of the fact that the Yellowstone volcano could erupt and kill us all? Okay, this is getting really dim really quickly. This is getting really, really dark really fast. So let's take a step back God, you guys are all doom and gloom today. What's with that? The internet hasn't been around for about 50 years, and it's just now that they're passing laws. It's too late. Yeah, I mean, the internet is a very similar conversation. The internet coming around, the .com bubble, as they put it, uh, versus AI. It's almost like history repeating itself, and not that long after. It is the wild, wild west, just as it was with the internet when it first came out. And it's going to stick around. It's not like AI is going anywhere. Um, and there's definitely nothing we can do to stop that. It's like the internet. So many people were probably like, the internet, I remember all the time hearing the internet rots your brain, the internet is going to ruin the world, all that great stuff. And here we are. I think we're good for now. I mean, yeah, bad sides to the internet as well, but there's good sides too. So there's always good and bad to both, I suppose. Yeah. 50 years? The internet. Probably more like 30 years, but yeah. Use AI for good, not scamming people. The problem is it comes with both. That's the issue. AI can't just be limited to the one good side of it. It also has the bad. AI is like Anakin Skywalker. It has Darth Vader, but it also has little Annie, Like it's still got the good guy. And it just takes Luke Skywalker to see the good in him to bring him back to the light. And that Luke Skywalker is, us. It's the people who are using the AI. And they did see AI coming. Terminator came out in the 80s, nearly 40 years ago. True? True. If you can't get a job to afford to live, what? Oh. What did I come into here? Ron, I don't know. Yellowstone is different because that is a natural aspect to Earth and nature. We have no choice. We are 100%. Wait, sorry. Let me scroll up there for a second. What? Where did that go? Hang on. Let me read that rest of that. Scrolling. We 100% had a choice with AI. It was natural. Yes and no. I didn't have a choice with AI. I'm not the one who created it. I didn't have a choice of whether it would come around or not. Max Revo just joined the chat and said, "What's up, guys? What did I miss? Who did Mike unalive?" I have kind of blown up the planet a couple times this stream already, so yeah. Yeah. But it's not my fault. I blame you guys. This was all you. I was looking at the good side of AI. We were having a nice, fun conversation. And now the world's going to end. Did you see the new Mall comic? Yes, we will talk about the Mall comic as soon as we're done with this AI stuff. If AI produce something that you enjoy, why are you getting scammed? The fact that you didn't know AI made it, it is a conversation of CGI. When CGI was first created, people didn't like it because it wasn't an actor. For example, I guess they thought it wasn't an actor, I should say. For example, Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy. For example, Smeagol or Gollum in the Lord of the Rings. But still, you had Ahmed Best as Jar Jar Binks doing a performance as the character. You had Andy Serkis doing the performance as Smeagol or Gollum. So even with the CGI characters, there was still a performance and a creative aspect underneath it. I think when it comes to AI, the only creative input, if you're doing a completely AI version of a character, would be the person who just types in the prompt. Yeah. Can we move on from the AI? The problem is we can't. Not yet, at least, because it is probably the most important thing, or the biggest news story of the year by far, uh, and it needs to be talked about because it will affect the fact that it's Disney and it will affect Lucasfilm in one way or another. That's why we have to talk about it. Believe me, I don't want to talk about this. AI is like the worst conversation to ever have. There is literally end of world and some good things. I don't want to talk about that. I'd way rather talk about the mall comic stuff, but this is so important that it needs to be talked about. Yeah. AI 100% isn't an actor, though. CGI still has a performance of an actor. AI doesn't have that. There's no human or soul to it. A prompt is not art. True. I agree with you there. I 100% agree with you there. However, you can still have the actor perform and still use the CGI, but there is so much AI happening there with the creation of the CGI worlds you're making. For example, generative AI is one thing. Generating a AI world, an AI character, all that stuff. Using AI to create, using it as a tool to create a CGI'd scene is completely different. You still have the actor underneath using the motion capture or whatever. You still have the voice actor who's doing the voice. You still have the other real people in the scene. So there's that aspect of AI, which I am fully on board with. I absolutely love because it helps make stuff faster, better, and visually just nicer. And audio-wise as well, nicer. And then there's complete scenes made of AI and just no creative control at all, no actors, no voice actors, no nothing. And yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So there's very different things to it. Yeah. Do you read all the Star Wars books, Mike? If so, what is your favorite? I don't read all of the Star Wars books. I have, only so many hours in the day. However, I have read a ton of them. Yes. Favorite one, favorite canon one and favorite Legends one are two different questions. So I'll go Legends first, and that's the Plagueis novel. Hopefully someday it'll be canon. But canon-wise, it's kind of difficult. I love me some, what the hell is it called? I don't even know the name of it. Dark Disciple. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Dark Disciple. I love me some. The Aftermath trilogy is pretty good. Oh, the Thrawn trilogy. My fault. Yeah, Thrawn trilogy is really good. Both Thrawn trilogies are really, really good. Yeah. Those are a few, I suppose. Yeah. CGI doesn't need a lot of money or time so long as the studio isn't overworking and rushing them. That is why they want AI so that they can skip the human component. But there's no. Well, first of all, we don't know that because you said that's why they want it. We don't know that that's why they want it. Hopefully, in a perfect world, and I know we don't live in one, but in a perfect world, they will use it to enhance or make better their ability to do the CGI. It's not getting rid of anyone's job. The process still remains the same. It's just a better way to do it. Yeah. Will AI Thrawn have 6 fingers? No, because the AI has gotten way too good. It's gotten to the point, though, now, at least in 2025, where we haven't seen. I guess we're in uncharted territories here. Because when you watch an AI video now, in December of 2025, it's hard to even recognize if it's fake. That becomes a problem to me because I'm like, what's real anymore? There could be a video of me out there where I'm saying that Star Wars sucks, and that's just not real. But AI is so good now that you can make me say that, and it looks so real, and somebody else believes it, and that becomes a problem because I don't think Star Wars sucks. And of course, that's a very sort of jokish way of telling that, but there is way worse scenarios than that could become reality. And that's a big issue. My question to you is, How do you stop that? I don't know. I'm literally asking you because I don't have answers. I'm asking you, how do you stop that? How do you stop anybody from taking your face, putting it in a video, and saying something ridiculous, and then it going mega viral online, and your life is ruined because it looks so real? I'll push it even one step further, and then I promise you we'll move on. I promise you we'll move on. I'll go one step further. Crimes. For so long, the thing that could get you in a courtroom was video surveillance evidence. If you were robbing a bank and there's video of you robbing a bank, there's no denying that. You're caught in 4K robbing the bank. Now, you could make an AI video look so ultra realistic of you robbing a bank when you didn't rob the bank. Is that not a problem? See, I I was worrying that we were going to go down this route. Yes. So AI, the more and more you talk about it, as you can tell, we've been talking about it for 40 minutes now. The more and more you talk about it, the bigger and bigger rabbit hole you go down, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. It's craziness. I agree with you. However, this $1 billion deal that Disney signed with AI, or OpenAI, sorry, with OpenAI, this 3-year licensing agreement to allow fans to make videos of the Pixar characters and Disney characters and animated versions of Marvel and Star Wars characters. That, to me, is going to allow Disney fans, Star Wars fans as well, to make fun content. You can't use the likeness of Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, or Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford, unless it's animated or a comic book version of the character, so that they're not, dealing with that. But when you talk about AI, it's hard not to go down that rabbit hole, If I make a great enough, realistic-looking video of you robbing a bank, it's kind of hard to deny that. Pros of AI is that it can take concepts from reality and make it real. Cons of AI, there is no beauty and creativity, and this is why Hollywood fears it. Yes, there's a lot of negatives and a lot of pros when it comes to AI, and it's weighing those two and figuring it out. And that's why this poll is kind of horrible, because I said, is it great news or horrible news? It's neither. It's somewhere in between. Because there is such an insane difference from a tiny little tool that could help you make a CGI scene better with AI. For example, bringing Luke Skywalker back to life, making him look more realistic with a deep fake using AI. Well, Mark Hamill is still there performing it, and they're just using the deep fake technology on his face. There's such a big difference from that and completely creating a fully AI created, no actor, no creative minds, no nothing, just a little type prompt, and that's it. There's a big difference. Huge. And right now, as the audience, we have zero power of what they're going to choose, what they're going to do. Either way, it's not going anywhere. So take it how you will, but the news headline does not change. Disney invests $1 billion into OpenAI. And for the next 3 years, you'll be able to generate any video of your liking with Disney, Pixar, Marvel, or Star Wars characters, so long as they are animated and not the actual actor's face. Whew. Did we make it? Did we make it out alive, chat? Did we do it? Did we do it, chat? Did we do it, chat? That was one of the toughest things I ever had to do on a live stream. Talking AI? Ooh, that's tough. Okay, let's do it. We made it. All right, let's move on here because we could talk about that for the next 3 hours, but we're not going to because it's a disaster. The more and more you think about it, the more and more it's likely that Arnold Schwarzenegger will knock on your door and kill you. Okay, so moving on. Moving on to the Maul Shadow Lord news. And this is a big one. This came out this morning, too. Again, December 11th, 2025 is going to go down as one of the biggest days in Star Wars and Disney history. Because this came out this morning. Let's take a look at this. So Maul Shadow Lord is coming out in 2026. We know that for a fact. It's the next Star Wars animated series, and it's following, you guessed it, Darth Maul. However, this kind of gives us an insight into when this show will be released. Take a look. Published on December 11th, 2025. The Star Wars Shadow of Maul, not to be confused with Maul Shadow Lord, the Star Wars Shadow of Maul comic series establishes the world of the upcoming animated show. Interesting. Let's take a look. One of the most feared villains in the galaxy far, far away returns next year in Maul Shadow Lord, a new animated series set after the events of the final season of the Clone Wars. In March, keep this in mind, in March, Marvel Comics will pave the way for the Disney Plus series with Shadow of Maul, a 5-issue prequel series written by Marvel superstar Benjamin Percy, who wrote with the Sith Lord in Darth Maul Black, White, and Red series. I did not read this series. I saw like snippets of it, but I've not read the entire thing. Known for his acclaimed work in recent Star Wars Jedi Knight series, which I think might still be running. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the upcoming animated show, Maul Shadow Lord, will reveal Maul's plans to rebuild his criminal syndicate on Janix, a planet untouched by the Empire. And Star Wars Shadow of Maul comic series will introduce this new setting, and cast including Captain Brander Lawson and his partner, a droid nicknamed Two Boots, as they investigate shadowy dealings on Janix. So here you have Maul, of course, on the cover, and this is our boy, what was his name? Brander Lawson and his droid, Two Boots. It does reveal a little bit about this show. The planet that we thought was going to be Dathomir, he eventually will be on Dathomir. We know that. We know that when because of Solo, a Star Wars story. But Janix. Now, I think this is a completely new planet in Star Wars. Let's look it up. Janix. Yeah, it's a completely new planet. I believe. Yeah, it is. Okay. So completely new planet in the Star Wars universe, which is really, really cool. And Maul is going to be there, rebuilding his crime syndicate. I assume, from just the looks in the background, that it looks maybe like a city landscape type, like a Nar Shaddaa or a Coruscant type deal. Possibly. But it's not Dathomir to start, which is interesting. Welcome to Janix, a neon-lit, shadow-soaked maze of a planet that lies beyond the reaches of the Empire. Captain Brander Lawson is doing his best to navigate the law in the lawless territory. He's joined by his partner, the droid nicknamed Two Boots, as they face off against scheming crime bosses. So this guy's 100% dead already. You want my first death prediction of the stream? This guy is a goner. Darth Maul will be cutting his head off, I assume, because he's looking for crime bosses and trying to stop them. So, yeah, he's dead. And as a looming threat of the Shadow Lord Maul nears as he builds up his underworld. So, I've said it before, I'm a giant Star Wars nerd, Percy says. My previous experience writing in the galaxy far, far away with Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red was an absolute delight. But those were one-shots. Flirtation with the franchise. With Shadow of Maul, I am able to share a more expansive story about one of my favorite characters, while also exploring a fresh angle on the Star Wars universe, which I think he's talking about here is sort of the point of view of the underworld, which is something we don't really get enough of. You get snippets of it here and there with like the Clone Wars a little bit, or even, I suppose, in the comics here and there. But for the most part, unexplored. The underworld is always mentioned, but not really dive deep into. This is a sci-fi story, but it's also a crime story, he continues. It's a story about cops, criminal syndicates, and a neon-lit, shadowy, allied city that hides many sins and secrets. I'm teaming up with an artist who's already a great Star Wars veteran and legend. Yep, not even going to try. His art is gritty and grounded and perfectly matches the noir tone. We've been in close contact with Lucasfilm, reading scripts and watching episodes of the fantastic new animated series. And our story will serve as a prelude to what the viewers will see play out on screen. So there you have it. It is a prequel to the Maul Shadow Lord series, and they've already seen episodes of this said series. We were talking about this last night on Star Wars Jedi Chat podcast. If you guys were there, shout out to you. But Derek, one of the other co-hosts on there, was saying how he thinks that they've already done 2 seasons. Now, tell me in the chat how many seasons do you think Maul Shadow Lord will be. I assume maybe 4, hopefully 4 or 5. But when it comes to what they've already done, they're keeping it a secret. Sam Witwer, when they announced the show back at Star Wars Celebration over, 7 months ago, when they announced the show, he said that he's been working on it for over a year. A year. So if he is doing the voice acting on this series for over a year, which is now probably close to 2 years, if not more, then this series is likely has been done, at least the first season of it has been done for a long time. Long time. 2 years? That is far more time than they need for even the live action stuff. Now, granted, it could be like 16 or 20 episodes, but either way, I think this show is a lot further along than we think. And season 2 might not be that far behind season 1. Like, you might get season 1 in 2026 and season 2 in 2027, right after it. However, with that being said, this is a prequel to it, and the prequel drops in March. Scroll back up. In March. So where does that leave us for a release date of Maul Shadow Lord? Well, the latest rumor / leak that we got was that the trailer for Maul Shadow Lord will drop in January, meaning less than a month from now, and the show itself will drop at some point in March. This could still be the case if they're going to go, because I believe it said March 4th. Let me see. Let me double check here. Yeah, right here. On sale 3/4, which is March, 3rd month of the year, 4th. So on sale on 3/4, which is March 4th. So if it's that early, it's five issues, it said. I guess that would bring you into April then, huh? Interesting. I don't know. I'm just trying to do the math, because if it runs for 5 weeks, that would bring you into April. And then Maul Shadow Lord might not come out until April. Interesting. I keep forgetting it's animated. Oh, it's definitely animated, yes. It's an animated series. But either way, this comic series comes out in March, and it might mean that we won't be seeing Maul Shadow Lord until, I guess, April. Either late March or early April would be my assumption. Because it has to come out before The Mandalorian and Grogu. And if it's 15 episodes, you assume that they'll double up the premiere. Maybe they'll double up a couple episodes here and there. So it'll run for at least 10 weeks. 10 weeks is 2 months at least. So you have to start it 2 months before The Mandalorian and Grogu. Unless you want to overlap, which I don't see them doing. Yeah. Mr. Slash X, what's up? It could be an 8-episode season, but I hope not. The animated stuff, for the most part, has been 16, 15, 20, 22, 24 episodes. So it hasn't been like only 8 episodes. I don't know. Mike, can you look at the Maul poster again? The background is giving me Vader vibes. What? This one? This poster? Oh, I get what you're talking about. Like up there, it's kind of, yeah, it kind of looks like Vader. But no, I don't think this is supposed to be this new planet. Janix. Yeah. I don't know why they're doing this. A prequel series, maybe to set up the timeline, maybe to set up Maul from a different perspective, because this is probably going to be from the perspective of this sort of police officer type guy here and his droid as they're hunting down Maul or trying to stop Maul. It's not going to be, I think, from the Maul perspective. I do like how they use the exact same style with the title here, Maul Shadow Lord, and then it's Shadow of Maul. That's cool. Yeah. So that comes out in March, meaning Maul Shadow Lord is not too far after that. Yeah. They'll probably have Vader versus Maul at the end of the show. Well, the two of them have to cross paths. The coolest part about the Maul Shadow Lord series is that we know where it ends. We know where Maul ends. He ends on Malachor 5, where we see him in Rebels. But how does he get there? Because he builds up this huge criminal underworld, and then at some point he loses everything. Why? Did Vader and the Inquisitors come in and just take it from him? What led to him going to Malachor 5? Because when he's there, he's looking for a weapon to destroy the Empire, to destroy the Emperor. And he needs somebody else there with him, and that's why he has to wait till Ezra shows up, and then he uses Ezra to go from there. But how does he go from the ruler of the underworld, peak of his powers, to alone, no more Crimson Dawn, no more King of the Underworld, alone on Malachor 5? That's the question. Sci-Fi dude, what's up? How we doing? It's been a
Hello there.
How you doing? Okay, so that's the big news for the prequel series to Maul Shadow Lord. Clearly, they think that they have a hit on their hands with this Maul series, which, I mean, I assume they do. Maul is my third favorite character of all time, so I'm ridiculously excited. But to make a prequel comic to a animated series, they must think that they have something pretty important on their hands here, which I think they do. I think they absolutely do. But tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Maul Shadow Lord? What do we think? What do we think? I think The Mandalorian and Grogu will be the first thing in 2026. That would be a surprise, to be sure. That would be a surprise. If that's the case, then the back half of the year is going to be jam-packed. If you have to put Maul Shadow Lord, Ahsoka Season 2, the Vision spin-off series about the Ninth Jedi, all of that in just 6 months, less than 6 months, that's going to be really difficult to accomplish. Oh my God, look at the hype for this show in the chat. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 7, 7, 7.5, 10, 9, 9.6, 9, 12 out of 10, 7, 5, 9. Some pretty high scores. I'm excited too because I think it's really feeling like this series is getting closer and closer and closer. As soon as that trailer drops, I know my hype is going to go through the roof. So right now I'm kind of, keeping it low, keeping it on the low. It has to be Vader shutting him down. It would explain why the Inquisitors are after him on Malachor 5. Yes, they are hunting him down, but so much has to happen before then, too, because when the Inquisitors find him, they are scared of him. They call him the Shadow. And when Vader shows up, Maul is scared. So if Maul is scared of Vader and the Inquisitors are scared of Maul, a lot of history happened between these characters that we haven't seen yet. And Maul Shadow Lord is going to give us that, which is awesome. Yeah. Can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bum, bum. All right, I'm going to put up a new poll here, but I want to take a second to look at this other poll and go back to the AI thing for a quick sec. Disney's $1 billion deal with OpenAI is 60% of you said horrible, horrible news, and 40% said great news. Not a 50-50 split, but still 60-40 is a pretty big split. It is sort of just the way you look at it. If you see AI as this big threat to the world, big threat to all creative minds and ideas and all that stuff, yeah, it's horrible news. If you see it as sunflowers and rainbows, as just a tool to help make the content that you know and love even better, then yeah, it's great news. But the reality of the situation is it's somewhere in the middle. It's a combination of both, because both aspects of the AI that they have just invested $1 billion into are coming over in a 3-year exclusive deal to Disney. Yeah. So, with that, let me put up a new poll. Let me put a poll. All right. When do you think we will get Maul Shadow Lord? I'm going to start with March because this is when the comic series comes out. So it likely won't come out before the comic series. March, April. Then you start running out of time. I'll put May on here, but your fourth option will be June or later. I'm hoping for late March at this point. With this series coming out, I'm hoping for late March. Maybe it's a 5-issue series that comes out all at the same time and it's mid-March. But I'm hoping for late March. Early April would be cutting it close. If you're going to do it all before the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, you're going to have to get it out quickly. And if it's, I guess, maybe 12 episodes. How many episodes is Clone Wars Season 7? Was it 12? Let me check. Clone Wars Season 7. Let's see. Because I know the Bad Batch was 16, 16, 15. All right, here we go. Season 7 of the Clone Wars was 12 episodes. Yeah, 12 episodes. So maybe it's only 12 episodes. And that would mean that it only has to run for like 8 or 9 weeks because you can double up a few episodes. And 8 weeks takes you to 2 months. So that would put you right to there. It's coming out April 1st. Well, let's see. Let's take a look at our calendar here. We should make a calendar that just has our predictions for when things will release. All right, let's take a look. We go to March. All right, so if we're in March here. Check out this calendar. So March 4th is when this comic series comes out. If it does run for 5 weeks, or if it all comes out at the same time, that's fine. If it all comes out at the same time, then it comes out here. And Maul Shadow Lord could come out on March 10th. That's best case scenario. If it does run for 5 weeks, it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to April 1st. And Maul Shadow Lord could come out on that day. Or the day before. Or it could come out the day or the week after, on the 7th. If it does come out on this 1st or 31st, then it would be, let's say, runs for 8 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be perfect. Mandalorian and Grogu releases on this day, May 22nd, and 3 days earlier, Maul Shadow Lord will have come to an end. That would be perfect. So if the release date is April 1st or March 31st, that would work perfectly. You'd have the series, the prequel series come out 5 weeks before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, what happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the fifth issue is when the premiere of the show happens, and then you run for 8 weeks, which leads you directly into the Mandalorian and Grogu movie's release. I like that. I like that a lot. Interesting. So it depends on how many episodes Maul Shadow Lord ends up being. It does fully depend on if all 5 issues come out at the same time. I don't know. Does the comic book series release all on the same day? We don't know. Actually, do we know? Let's check. It just says 5-issue comic series. Let's see. No. No. Yeah, it just says 5-issue series. So maybe it's 5 weeks, 1 a week, or maybe it's 5 all at the same time. I don't really know. But either way, it is March 4th. That's the date that we know the most. This is March 4th. It does say Mall number 1 is on sale March 4th, so maybe it's only the first one, but this is because the poster of it. I don't know. How many pages per issue? I have no idea. I haven't a clue. I have no idea. No clue. Okay, but still, this poll has 43% of you thinking March. I'm now on the border of March or April. I mean, if it could be March 31st or April 1st. I don't know. April Fool's Day. Either way, Maul Shadow Lord is really not that far away. You're talking less than 4 months if you're thinking March. And that means we got to get a trailer before then. We got to get all this other promotional stuff before then. And hype and anticipation for this series. So really cool news about this prequel series. Set up Janix, this new planet where Maul is going to be stationed out of for at least a little bit, controlling the underworld until he goes to Dathomir for who knows why. But this is really cool. So, huge deal. Disney signs $1 billion investment with OpenAI, and we got a prequel to Maul Shadow Lord announced all this morning before I had my breakfast. So, with that, we do have a little bit of other news. I mean, a ton of other news, but we probably won't have time to get to all of it, so let's go quickly here. Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Let's talk about that first because I want to talk about the video game stuff for a really long time. So let's talk about this first. Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is reportedly going to be attached to Avatar Fire and Ash. Originally, it was Avengers Doomsday that was supposed to be attached to this, but that has supposedly been postponed. Mandalorian and Grogu will be released in the coming days attached to Avatar Fire and Ash. That movie, Fire and Ash, comes out next week on the 19th, so next Friday. So it's likely that we will be getting this Mandalorian and Grogu trailer next Friday. Not only that, but this new trailer will not be the exact same one that came out with Zootopia 2. It will not be scenes that we've seen, all scenes that we've seen before, and it will have new scenes. Let me see if I can find this. Yes. This Mandalorian and Grogu trailer will not be the one that's Zootopia 2. It will be a brand new full trailer, meaning probably 2 minutes or more, likely. Yes, this is what we got. A new trailer footage for The Mandalorian and Grogu may release soon. Multiple sources report preparation for releasing a new trailer footage are complete. plans to run the new trailer during a screening of the new Avatar film releasing this month, perhaps. So, new trailer, new footage, and next week is the likely release date for it. All great news. We have gotten a few Mando trailers to date, but of all of them, there's no new footage. The one for Zootopia 2 was just a combination of the first official trailer, and the trailer shown at Star Wars Celebration. So there hasn't been a new piece of footage for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in months. So hopefully next week we'll be getting new footage, new trailer, and it's released publicly. That's the good news. Now let's switch gears one more time. Okay, maybe not one more time. We're probably going to switch gears again. But let's switch gears to tonight. The Game Awards, the Video Game Awards are tonight. And we are expecting a big old announcement. And I'm not just talking about, maybe like a poster or something. We're talking, hopefully, gameplay or a trailer for the next Star Wars game. They are comparing it to the last time that we had a Star Wars game announced at a Game Awards, which was Jedi Survivor. And they showed the gameplay for Jedi Survivor at the Game Awards. So, could they be referring to Jedi 3? Possibly. But all the reports and rumors are pointing to one project in particular, and that is the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Now, the Knights of the Old Republic remake was announced 4 years ago. Yeah, a long time ago. However, 4 years later, we've had very, very little announcements when it comes to this game. It did switch studios and it went through a whole lot of whatever, but it's been very, very quiet. However, tonight might be when all hell breaks loose, when all this stuff that's been bottled up goes, because all lines, all reports, all rumors, and again, just take it with a giant grain of salt because it is just a rumor for now, are pointing to KOTOR. Now, I want to put up a poll in the chat here before we even talk about this. On what game do you guys think is getting announced tonight? By the way, 42% of you think that Maul Shadowlord will release in March, 26% say April, 19% say May, and 13% say June or later. Which Star Wars game do you think will be announced tonight at the Game Awards? Your options are KOTOR Remake, Jedi 3. I love to put Battlefront in this. Battlefront 3 or other. Your other could be Star Wars Eclipse, could be, I don't know, anything. Whatever your heart desires. Zero Company. It has been said that it's not going to be Zero Company, because Zero Company is next year, and it's going to be something new. Or not new, but you know what I mean. Yeah. All right. So tell me what you think in the chat, and while you do so, let me pull this up. Oh, yeah. Don't let me leave without talking about Ahsoka Season 2, because there was some Ahsoka Season 2 news that I wanted to get to that's pretty interesting. All right. Let's take a look. There it is. Oh, wait. No, that's not it. We talked about the KOTOR 2 remake and that whole debacle on Tuesday's live stream. But this... Come on, where is it? Where is she? Get that reference, Chad? Ah, there it is. A major Star Wars game announcement is imminent. The announcement reportedly has nothing to do with Eclipse or Zero Company. That's why I left them off the list. But may pertain to Jedi 3 or the Knights of the Old Republic remake. And the reason I'm leaning way more towards the Knights of the Old Republic remake is not only because that's where all the leaks and rumors are leaning towards, but also because they've been working on that game for far longer than they've been working on Jedi 3. And it's the Old Republic. I mean, we're talking about a whole new place in the timeline, almost 4,000 years before anything. It's Revan, it's Malik, it's greatness remade. And the best part of this entire game, the fact that they're remaking it, yeah, the game itself is cool. It's probably one of the greatest Star Wars games of all time. Sure, whatever. The remake is canon. And that's the biggest part of all of this. The fact that it's canon, the fact that it's bringing the Old Republic and these characters' stories to canon is the most important thing. Because at some point, whether it be 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 50 years from now, hopefully not, we will be moving to the Old Republic. For movies, for shows, for animated stuff, for all of it. We will be moving completely to the Old Republic. And this game has the ability to kickstart us off, and for some fans, introduce them to the Old Republic era. Especially in canon, because it will be the first introduction in canon. So that is so unbelievably important. There's another project that is 25,000 years before everything. That's called The Dawn of the Jedi, that was announced over 2.5 years ago at Star Wars Celebration, where James Mangold was brought out on stage to direct and write the film, which he is still writing with Mr. Willimon, who did some of the best arcs of Andor. So there's that, and that's about it. Everything else that's being worked on right now is post-sequels like Starfighter, the Rey movie, hopefully The Hunt for Ben Solo, Simon Kinberg's trilogy, or it's in the Skywalker saga. It's the Mandoverse stuff, like the Mandalorian and Grogu, or Ahsoka Season 2, or Dave Filoni's movie. Or it's Small Shadow Lord. Like, it's stuff inside the Skywalker saga timeline. Other than Dawn of the Jedi and the Old Republic, which is really cool. So, tonight is the big night. I believe it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be a live stream of it on YouTube, on Amazon Prime, on pretty much every platform. So, completely free live stream on YouTube to watch the Game Awards. And hopefully, we'll be getting either a Jedi 3 gameplay, which sounds way too early for that, but still maybe, or trailer, or KOTOR, giving us Revan and giving us the Old Republic in canon for the first time ever.
This is where the fun begins.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm not the biggest video game guy. I like to play me some multiplayer games like Battlefield 6 I'm into pretty big right now. I like to play with my friends and play with the community, like when we played Battlefront 2 together. That stuff is fun. I'm not the biggest fan of the, I guess, character-driven story adventures. I'd just rather play with other people and do a multiplayer game rather than just play by myself in a story-driven thing. I don't know why. I've just never, gotten too deep into it. But I will say, when we played through the Jedi games on this channel, it was a blast. And if we get KOTOR, I mean, I'm going to play through it 1,000 times. It's so freaking good. So it fully depends, I suppose, on the game. But I wouldn't be opposed, I wouldn't be opposed to it. If tonight's announcement was Battlefront 3, it would be a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. But I really, really doubt it's going to happen. But if it was like, Mike, if you could have one thing happen tonight at the Game Awards, what would it be? It's Battlefront 3. As much as I love me some Darth Revan, as much as I love me some Cal Kestis, Battlefront 3 is like all the way up here. And the other games are like here. So, yeah. But that's just me. So let's see where the poll is at in the chat. 44% of you guys think it will be the KOTOR remake. Oh, I really hope you're right. 39% say Jedi 3. Only 4% say Battlefront 3. Well, there goes my hopes and dreams. Thanks a lot, chat. Yeah.
I got a bad feeling about this.
But Battlefront 3 could be set in the Old Republic era. I didn't even think of that. Because Battlefront is usually like all eras. You can play as all different characters. I guess you could choose which era you play in, but still, it's like a crossover of these mixing of characters. Imagine they implemented Revan in the Old Republic into Battlefront 3. Whew. Sign me up for that. For Battlefront 3, though, seriously, you just got to add characters from the shows and animated in live action. Give us Ahsoka, give us Mando, give us Grogu, give us Cassian Andor. Like, just all the Asajj Ventress, all the great characters that just weren't in Battlefront 2 need to be added. The graphics can be updated, the maps can be updated, but just add the characters. That's about it. That's about it. Okay. So, not the Zootopia 2 trailer, a new full trailer attached to Avatar 3, Mandalorian and Grogu trailer next week. Done. Got it. Yes. Boom. Whew. We are cruising today. Now, let me, just because it's at the top of my mind, let me talk about this Ahsoka Season 2 news. So, this just happened, I believe, today or yesterday, maybe? Ahsoka Season 2 got a pretty big little bit of news. And it comes from, let me see if I can. This. Ahsoka on set. Ahsoka moves into post-production as Starfighter takes flight. The second season of Ahsoka wrapped principal photography at the start of October, which we knew about, which means they are drawing ever closer to learning where the epic story will take us in Season 2. The series picks up not long after the end of Season 1, with Ahsoka, Sabine, Huyang, Shin, and Baylan stranded on Peridia, while Thrawn and Ezra have returned to the known galaxy. The series stars Rosario Dawson, Natasha Leigh Bordizzo, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Rory McCann, who's replacing Ray Stevenson as Baylan Skoll, Ivana Sakno as Shin Hati, Iman Asfandi as Ezra Bridger, Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn, David Tennant as Hu Yang, and Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen. Stephen Blum will also reprise his role as Zeb Orrelios, who's also going to be seen in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which we did, in fact, know. But the information that this does give us is that there won't be a big old time jump at the end of season, or in between Season 1 and Season 2, which indicates to me where the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to take place. Because Zeb is in both the Mandalorian and Grogu and Ahsoka Season 2. So the events of the movie can't take place at the exact same time as Season 2. However, it could mean that the events of the movie take place right alongside of Ahsoka Season 1. That would explain why characters like Carson Teva won't be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, because he was with Hera Syndulla as they were helping out Ahsoka try to get to the new galaxy. And that would explain why, I guess, Zeb is in one and not the other, or where Zeb was, I suppose, during Ahsoka Season 1. So this, to me, the fact that there's, yes, not a big time jump, not long after Season 1, that makes sense. Baylan Skoll is going to find this glimmer of light. Ahsoka and Sabine aren't that far behind him, especially because they have a ship there. So they shouldn't be that far behind, and the action should pick up right away. But the problem that I have with this, so the one issue that I see with this, is Thrawn. Thrawn not having enough time to create his army, to bring the Night Sisters back to life and bring the remnant of the Empire together. And that might be because Thrawn is not going to be a one-and-done villain. Ahsoka Season 2 is not going to be the end of the heir to the Empire, the big blue meanie. It's just going to be the beginning. Because I still think we're getting a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. A Mandalorian and Grogu trilogy. Wrong T-word. A Mandalorian and Grogu trilogy. And Thrawn will be the main villain of that trilogy. So Ahsoka Season 2 is just sort of going to be another bit of introduction to the character of Thrawn, seeing how genius he is of a strategical mind and how he can absolutely just destroy the New Republic, or at least Hera and friends. and setting up the fact that he's going to be a big threat for the movies, for Dave Filoni's movie, and hopefully what will end up being a trilogy at the end of it. However, I will say, it makes sense for Ahsoka and Sabine for this no time jump. But when it comes to Ezra and Hera, it makes a little bit less sense because you see in the concept art, if I can find this really quickly, them on Dathomir. Now, maybe it's like their initial instinct to go, let's go immediately stop him. Hera, Chopper, and Ezra hop in a ship and go try to stop him on Dathomir like immediately. And maybe that's the case, but that's kind of seems very quick. Let me see if I can find this. Aha, there it is. This image where we see from the concept art of Hera, Ezra, and Chopper on what looks to be Dathomir. And you can see Enoch up there, again, on what looks to be Dathomir. Them going immediately to that planet kind of seems quick if there's no real time jump in there. But for the most part, it does make sense for Ahsoka and others who are on Peridia. Yeah. Patricia, what's up? How we doing? Dathomir confirmed. Oh, Dathomir is 100% going to be in the second season. That's for sure. That without a doubt, yes. I imagine there'll be a lot of Peridia content and not too much Thrawn because he's in the old galaxy. Yeah, it won't be a 50-50 split. I think we'll get mostly Ahsoka and Baylan Skoll and all the stuff happening in that galaxy in Peridia. A lot more than we get of Thrawn in the regular galaxy, for sure. Yeah. I don't really know. Yeah, it's probably going to just be like a tease to Thrawn and his real power, and that'll just lead into the movie. Whatever happens with Ahsoka and Sabine, I feel like will be an actual ending where the rest won't. Do you know anything about the Luke Skywalker hot toy? No, I don't think so. Don't forget about the giant space battle that Dave teased. True. So he did tease a war in our Star Wars, but he didn't say that war was going to come to a close. I think he's setting up a big old war that's just going to start, like one first battle. For example, the Battle of Yavin is not the end of that war by any means. I mean, they build a whole nother Death Star, and they have like 10 more wars or 10 more battles versus the Empire. So it's not the end of the war at all. So I could see there being a Battle of Yavin type battle in the Ahsoka season 2, but it's not the end of the war by any means. It's just the beginning of it. It might actually be the beginning. For example, in Attack of the Clones, when you have the Battle of Geonosis, and I almost just called him Grogu, and Yoda. Should we start calling Yoda Adult Grogu because we called Grogu Baby Yoda for so long? Adult Grogu says, "Begun the Clone Wars have," or whatever he says. That's the beginning. That's just the beginning of the war, the Clone Wars. But it's just one battle. So I think you're going to see the beginning of this war versus the heir to the Empire versus Thrawn in Ahsoka season 2. Yeah. The second Death Star is actually very undershown because they could actually destroy 100 planets with the power of sun. The second Death Star? Wait, what? You lost me. You lost me. What would be interesting is if Thrawn shot up Coruscant, explaining why they moved the capitals. Yes. I seriously hope there's an explanation as to why they've moved capitals, and not just that J.J. Abrams wanted to blow up Coruscant and couldn't. I hope there's a better one than that. Yeah. Yeah. But Dave said we'd see Thrawn versus Akbar. True. And we will. But I still think that'll just be the first battle of this war. It'll be the first kick-starting battle like Geonosis was for the Clone Wars. Akbar doesn't have to die for it to be a battle, because we know he doesn't. It could be a stalemate. Many Bothans could die. Yeah. Many Bothans. The Aftermath books. I'm glad you brought that up. It's going to be very interesting to see how they, if they, unless they just completely change canon, you know? If they retcon the Aftermath trilogy. Because the Aftermath trilogy does explain a lot of what happens specifically with the New Republic. And Thrawn is not only not mentioned in the trilogy, but he's not seen. He's not there's no mention of a big old war or anything like that. Like there's no Thrawn. So how do you toe the line and not retcon the entire Aftermath trilogy? I don't know. I think a lot of it actually, the Aftermath trilogy ends in what year? Hang on, let's see. Doesn't it end with the Battle of Jakku? Hang on, let's see. When does the Aftermath trilogy end? Oh, 2017. That's fantastic. It concludes with the Battle of Jakku. Okay, so this still, I suppose, is after the Battle of Jakku. All right, but I guess it still makes sense. I suppose. Thrawn wasn't mentioned because he was in a different galaxy. That makes sense. Palpatine already knew that Thrawn's true intentions in the book. Oh, knew about Thrawn's true intentions in the book. Yes. Thrawn works for the Empire as long as it benefits him. Sorry, Mike, did you discuss Nick's questions from last night? We talked about Maul Shadowlord and touched upon a bunch of that stuff, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Hang on. Ah, okay, never mind. Never mind. All right. Neil the Fifth Element? Oh, elephant. Oh, okay. So we've lost our minds completely. That's good. So Ahsoka Season 2 does not take place. It takes place shortly after Season 1. There's no big time jump going on there, which does make a lot of sense. Now, oh, wait, what? This is interesting. I actually kind of forgot about this. Last year, Disney invested $1 billion into Epic Games, and this year they invested into OpenAI. The Epic Games thing, wasn't there supposed to be like a Disney land? Not Disneyland like in real world, but Disneyland in video game world that was supposed to come along with it? Or am I forgetting? Or did that already come out and I missed it? I don't know. Talk about that. Talk about that. Huh. I think we got to everything. Let's see. We talked about the OpenAI stuff. We talked about the Maul Shadowlord new series, the Mando trailer that's coming next week, or most likely coming next week. The enormous announcement coming tonight, which I can't wait for. Honestly, I think if we get a KOTOR trailer tonight, like if we get anything about the Knights of the Old Republic tonight, that would be insane. But regardless of what we get, likely there will be a video coming out about it, breaking it down tomorrow. But Saturday's live stream is going to be absolutely insane, and we're going to have quite a few things to talk about when it comes to that. All I'm seeing on my feed right now is this OpenAI stuff. It's crazy. Oh, Melissa, We got a new member. Hang on. Melissa joined as a night level. Melissa, welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. That is very, very generous. I appreciate that quite a bit. Super Chats memberships keep the lights on over here. Yeah. Disney is making a permanent Disney World in Fortnite. That's what I thought. Didn't it just not come out yet? I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? Oh, yeah. So we talked about it on Tuesday a little bit, but Daisy Ridley opening up about the Hunt for Men solo movie that was pretty interesting. Oh, this was the big deal, too. This is bad news to me. The rumor is that the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was supposed to come out today. Well, that says tomorrow, but this was from yesterday. It was supposed to come out today, but has been delayed due to the Supergirl trailer. Now, the Supergirl trailer did drop today, and I saw it. It looks pretty good, whatever. But the problem is, this is Star Wars, and if this is true, again, we don't know. This is Star Wars sort of running away from DC, which I don't like. I don't like one bit. Star Wars should be the peak of all peaks, which I still think it is. But it should be the peak of all peaks, and things should be running away from it. We had this conversation a long, long time ago, if you remember, with Ahsoka? Was it Ahsoka Season 1? The release date of one of those shows that came out in the fall was postponed because of something. I forget what it was. A Marvel show, maybe? I forget. But maybe this is fake because it's going to be attached to Avatar Fire and Ash, which doesn't come out until next week. That makes sense. But this would be bad news to me if Star Wars is running away from DC, of all things. Superman only made $100 million in profit, so Supergirl might end superhero movies. I hope not. I like superhero movies, but yeah, I mean, the trailer didn't get me really excited. I don't know the character too much, so it's hard to get excited for that. But there was that. Oh, and this. Tonight, at the Video Game Awards, this is just a rumor, but it's coming from a reliable source who also was the one who first broke the news about the KOTOR remake. They're saying that another new Star Wars game is coming. And the title ends in Racer. So this might not be announced tonight, but the fact that Lucasfilm games have always been pretty damn good. We were just talking about some of the greatest games of all time with KOTOR, and we talked about KOTOR 2 on Tuesday's live stream. But you look at just the history of Star Wars games all the way throughout, with just even like the Lego games or even Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, recent games, Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1. Incredible games, and a lot of them. There was a point in the early 2000s where we were getting at least a video game a year from Lucasfilm Games. So the fact that an eraser game sounds to me, if it's, honestly, make it like Mario Kart. Make it pod racing, but Mario Kart. You can choose your favorite Star Wars character, customize a pod racer or any sort of, I guess, ship to race in a pod race or an actual race in space. It's just a genius idea, and I'm kind of shocked that it hasn't happened already. A racing Star Wars game. The fact that Star Wars has not only an entire scene, important scene in the Phantom Menace that is a racing scene with the pod race, but also thousands and thousands of ships, different designed ships, piloted by different characters. In the success of things like Mario Kart racing, how Star Wars hasn't made a racing game well, I mean, they have made, I guess, racing games before, like pod racing. There's an old pod racing game. In the last 10 years, I suppose, how they haven't made a recent racing game is crazy to me. Because, yes, Mario Kart is still one of the most popular, highest sold video games of all time. Mario Kart 8, I think, is like top 5 most sold games ever. So to not have a Star Wars racing game is crazy, because I would play the hell out of this. I mean, I play Mario Kart with my friends all the time. This would be awesome. So if it is a racer game with whether it's pod racers or ships and Star Wars, sign me up. Sign me up 100 times over. So that is the other video game announcement when it comes to it. At least the leak, so take it with a giant grain of salt for now. Whew. Insanity. Insanity is what we have going on today, Chad. I said it at the beginning of the live stream, and I'll say it again. December 11th is going to go down as one of the craziest days in Star Wars news history. Not only has Disney invested $1 billion into AI, which has split the fandom yet again, but Maul prequel series announced, a comic series announced. We're getting a trailer or gameplay or some sort of announcement for a Star Wars video game tonight. Whether it's KOTOR or Jedi 3, either way, it's going to be enormous. And we have a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer coming out next week, along with this rumored title of a game with the ending title being Racer, Ahsoka Season 2 news. Craziness. Absolute insanity. But with that being said, you could do speeder bikes. Yes. You could do pod racers, speeder bikes, land speeders. It would be so cool. How do we not have this? How do we not have this already? Maybe that's what they're making right now. Lucasfilm, if you're watching, make it happen. Make it happen. But with that being said, watch out for that live stream tonight at 8 p.m. for the Game Awards. And hopefully we have a big old video coming out tomorrow about the announcement. That would be great. So watch out for that. And smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you don't have to you know the deal. Smash a freaking like on the stream. And yeah. As per usual, it's another crazy day to be a Star Wars fan. It just keeps getting better. Next year, Maul Shadow Lord. A prequel to Maul Shadow Lord. And so much more. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. This was quite the live stream. I mean, there was just so much news to talk about that it was like nearly impossible to get to all of it, and we did it for the most part. We didn't really dive deeply into the Daisy Ridley stuff, but either way, we got to most of it. We did a pretty good job. We survived the AI avalanche, I think. So with that, hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. Watch out for a short in about an hour. And yeah. Good. Oh, wait, I didn't end this poll. Wait. Tonight at the Game Awards, 41% of you think it'll be a KOTOR remake announcement. 37% say Jedi 3, 11% say Battlefront 3, and 11% say other. And good night, everybody.